that came in when they opened up a resume, because they've been soliciting resumes for a position, and somebody snuck it in by a resume, and it.
Yep. Okay, so what are we doing here? How to install themes, plugins, security performance, blah blah blah, SEO, backup plugin, content delivery network, difference between blogging, sales sites.
I'm intro and I'm concluding, and you're doing the bulk of it, bud.
Well, this sounds like what we're used to.
Hi, this is Brett Ridgway, and I'm here with
Brian Ain
from Info Marketing Training, and we are so excited to tell you about our next marketing and intensive. It is going to be on Thursday, May 26th, and the subject this time is WordPress. Now, if you're doing websites these days, WordPress is the way everything is done these days pretty much, but there's a lot of little things that can bite you in the butt if you don't know how to do them right. So we're going to do a lot of things in this webinar that probably a lot of people don't talk about when they're doing WordPress training. So what's on schedule, Brian?
Well, this has been I've been using WordPress for years, but this has been a big issue for me this year in that I really wanted to dive deep into what makes a website best with WordPress. And by best, I had a few things that I used to define it. So in this training, we're actually going to walk you through how to set up from scratch a new WordPress site. We're actually going to do it, I think, with a new book we have coming out called Consuming Your Content.
Right.
We've already bought the domain, but we'll be setting up from scratch how to install WordPress. But then here's where it gets a little tricky. From there, you really need to start choosing what is your theme. Now, most people think of a theme as in what does it look like? And that's true, and that's very important. The theme will determine the overall look of your site. You can customize the look, but a theme also will determine a few other things which most people don't think about. A theme will actually have a big impact on how well your site ranks for SEO terms, and it will also have a big impact on how well it performs. And what I mean by performance is how quickly does it download. And you may say, well, why is that important? Well, it's important for two reasons. A, it's important for user experience. You want your end users to be able to see your website as quickly as possible and use it effectively. But then B, Google will determine how well your site is coded and determine how quickly it loads, and that will impact how well they rank you in search engines. And so most people don't think about that when they're choosing a theme, and they just choose whatever theme looks pretty, but they don't always think about how does it perform and how is it going to impact their SEO.
Okay, now what if they say, well, I've already got a theme, I've already got a website. Are you going to teach me anything that will help my website be better because I don't need to start from scratch again?
Well, I am going to teach you things that will make it better. There are different plugins you can use. So themes are half of it, and then plugins are the other part of it. And there are plugins that you can use, like Yoast SEO. Should be showing you some of the most effective ways to use that. That is an outstanding SEO plugin, but there's a whole lot to it. And so we'll be teaching you how to really maximize the value of it. We're also going to be showing you, there's other performance plugins that you can use, such as WP Performance Booster. Although I've got to say, if you choose the right theme, you don't actually need that plugin, I've discovered. Although it may help your site, but you may not have the best theme out there. So I'm going to be showing you how you can actually even get the metrics on how well your site is currently performing, so that then as you install different plugins or as you make changes on your site, you can actually see how well you improve performance or how much you hurt performance, because it's very easy and free to do. Then I'm going to be teaching you something that most people don't teach, and that's going to be about the content delivery network. Now, what this means is when people come to view your website is being hosted wherever it is. Let's say that it's hosted here where we are in Indiana, but somebody's coming to visit your site from California, and somebody else is coming to visit your site from Hong Kong. Well, those people, if they're only loading your entire website from Indiana, it's going to have different load times for the two of them because they're much farther away, and there's a lot more steps between here in California or here in Hong Kong, for instance, versus here in Indianapolis. Now, the content delivery network, what that means is when you upload images or videos to the content delivery network, which Amazon is my preferred content delivery network, you will actually be putting it onto their network to where it will suddenly appear on servers all around the world. And so now when somebody comes to your website here in Indiana, it will pull just a little bit of data from Indiana to tell it what it is, but then it will pull all the images and the videos from whatever server is closest to them. which will really make things load a lot quicker. And this really matters if you're using a lot of video, which more and more people are going to video for their sales letter, more and more people are going to video for delivering their products, their training at the end. And so you really want to use the content network. It doesn't cost much more at all to use. It's very easy and inexpensive to set up once you learn the proper way to set it up. And so on May 26th, I'm going to be teaching you a lot about choosing your themes, choosing proper plugins. We're going to be teaching you about how to optimize performance, making your site run much, much faster. And actually, we're going to be teaching about security. One of my favorite security plugins will also actually improve performance of your website, which is pretty unheard of. Most security plugins will actually bog down and make your website slower. This one is actually not only the best security plugin, it actually will make it perform so much faster. And we'll teach you as to why they even do that. And that's an example of, even if you don't have the best theme selection, simply installing some of these performance plugins or some of these security plugins will not only make your site more secure, but it will make them perform much faster, which will have a big impact on you. To give you an example, one of our websites, I had installed Thesis, which was a pretty decent theme. I chose it originally because I wanted one of the best SEO themes. And it still is a great SEO theme, but it's become a little too complex for me. But I had Thesis running on it, and I went and installed some of these performance plugins, and it took my load time from like 5 seconds down to like 2.5 seconds. So it cut my performance, or it increased my performance by 100% basically. And it did it just by installing that plugin and turning it on just like that. And I did nothing else. The rest of my site looked exactly the same. Everything was so much better. And when I went to the content network, that helped my performance. Implementing things like WP Smush is going to help your performance, which will help reduce the size of images for transfers. There's just a whole lot of different things like this. And then that's kind of a lot of the technical side, but also we're going to then be getting into kind of the marketing side of stuff, which I consider this all marketing from the standpoint of how well your search engine ranks and how well it performs does it impact your marketing. But we're also going to be talking about what's the difference between a blog website versus a sales website, and how do you actually handle those. And then we're also going to be talking about responsive themes, because if you're not familiar with responsive themes, it's really the way everything's going today, because what a responsive theme means is that when somebody actually views your website, it will automatically adjust for what type of device they're using. So if they're viewing it on a desktop, or if they're viewing it on an iPad or an Android tablet, or if they're viewing it on their phone, whether it be iPhone or any other type of smartphone, it will automatically adjust and make your website look good and usable. And I used to just think, when I thought about this, I used to think, oh, as long as it looks good, and ours and Thesis always look good. But I didn't understand what it meant to be responsive. What responsive means is that it will actually adjust the entire look of the site to make it user-friendly for that size device. Mm-hmm. So for instance, you may have had 3 columns for your features, let's say, on your main website, and suddenly it'll put each of those 3 columns on top of each other if they're looking at it in a phone, which is so much more logical as you're sitting there scrolling on a phone. So you really need to make sure your site's responsive, especially if you're selling into any sort of market that does mobile stuff now, which virtually all markets are, people are looking at stuff on their phone.
Okay, so obviously there's a lot to learn about WordPress, and this is going to be an intensive. So we'll go from about 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon with a little break for lunch in there. And you can ask any questions you want during the training. So it will be done live, and you can pop in if you need clarification on something, amplification, whatever it may be. We're there to answer your questions. But you can join us on Thursday, May 26th at 10 a.m. And you can sign up for just $197 by clicking on the button down below, and we will see you on the 26th.
I thought that was pretty good. What do you think? Did I miss anything?
Good enough that I don't want to do it again.
You just don't want to listen to me the whole time.